Hello and welcome. I'd like to talk about xImporter today. xImporter is an app that will help creating animation sets for GameGuru. These are from FBX animation files. It will update an already created FPE with all the animation information required. It also creates the AI script thanks to small g and ready to go. So let's get started. I created a basic character in SketchUp. It doesn't matter what character you use, you can download from 3D Trader or Sketchfab, whatever, but I just created this one because I wanted to. You'll see that as far as this is concerned, it's less than 5,000 poly, so that's great. So once you have your character, and you've textured him in whichever program you want. I used Quixel. I always use Quixel. It's just a basic texture set, nothing mega. This is his actual colour and everything else to go with it. That was the exported model, so that's what we'd use in Mixamo. So if we go to Mixamo, you see that he's there. He was the last character that I used. So I've uploaded him and set these symmetry and what have you. The first thing I do is look for an idle animation because I always use the idle as the base, and I recommend using idle as the base animation because that's what normally you'll see in the editor when you place the character. So I always use idle. It's one of those things that I've always done. But the thing with this is the first animation that you choose that you're going to use in the editor needs to be the base animation. So the base animation, when you download it, you have to choose with skin. You have two options, without skin and with skin. The base animation you're going to have, you need to download with skin. So if we download that and save it, you'll see that I've already done. It says there's 19 animations here, but what we use in xImporter is actually 18 because the base animation is already set. We're appending these to the base. So that's another reason why I'd say use the idle as the base. So that we've got idle there. We have idle 2, idle 3, run 2, run 3, three sets of each animation. So you have 6 animation types and 3 sets in each as maximum. You can do 1 as each, or 2, 1 of it. It doesn't matter, it's mix and match, but the minimum is 1 animation in each set. You've got to have 1 in each set. So once you've chose all your animations, you create, as you're downloading, it's easy to create what's called an animation list. So if you see my idles here, this one, it would have been 59, the end frame of that idle if that was the first one I chose, but the one I chose had 263 frames. The second one 300, the third one 84, and again walk, run, attack. The hit frame, if we just pick an attack from here, this one here, you'll notice that he's wielding an axe, he's not. The xImporter will only work with melee characters, so knife, sword, axe, baton, whatever you want. But unfortunately, projectile characters I have not completed yet. I am having a go at it, but it's not that easy. So this is the actual first attack I used. So my attack was 72 frames. The hit frame, you get the hit frame. If we pause the animation, take it to the beginning, what we're looking for is when the actual character strikes the player. Now the player is the camera in the middle of the screen or center screen, so it's roughly about there, which you can see is frame 27. So the first attack was a total of 72 frames, the hit frame was 27. With attack 2, I cheated a little bit. All I did was, you see the attack one is swinging from the right, I just mirrored that so they're swinging from the left. Now, being the same animation, the actual hit frame should be basically the same, give or take a frame. So it's actually 27 there as well. So if you see here, attack 2 is 72 frames and hit is 27. The attack 3 was 87 frames and the hit frame, and that was 39. So if you go through and download all your animations, you should end up with something like this. Like I say, it's showing 19 because the idle, which is the biggest one, has got the skin. Basically the skin is the texture coordinates for the texture. So that one is not included in xImporter because that is the base model that we use in GameGuru. So what we need to do with that is copy that, take it to our export and paste, which as you can see I've already got there. Close Mixamo and start up GameGuru. Now, when we export the animations, the main one, the base one, is the one that we apply the textures to. All the other animations, we just import them to convert them to DBOs. I'm working on a method of where we can skip that process. Obviously the base will have to be imported, but the other animations, when we export it, gives a lot of useless information that we don't need, but all we need is the DBO files. So I'm working on a process where we can take an FBX and create just a basic DBO with it. But that's it, will be in a future update. So if we just import this model that we've done, so here's my export, and the one that we want to import is the animation file. This obviously was the static that we create the animation file from. It's the FBX we want. So we'll choose the FBX. Let GameGuru do its thing. There is still scaling issues with FBX. I'm going to try and get around it, but at the moment I can't. So first thing we need to do is select the shader type, which is the anim FX is what we want. He's not static, he's dynamic. He's a character, yes. So that's all the settings we need for there for the moment. This box here is it's looking for color PNG. Well, my textures are DDS, so if we select the textures, change to DDS, we see there that's our color. Import that and it brings the others in automatically. Now as you can see the scaling, FBX, so 250 should give you the approximate size in GameGuru, which is this 250. Once we've got that, we set all this as is, save the entity. So if we go to your GameGuru folder, entity bank, user, wherever you want to put it. I'll just create a new folder called test. Oops, no I won't. New folder, we'll call it test 2. And now then, this is the base animation. I would recommend the base animation you name the same as the actual character. So in my case, Ghostface. I know it's an idle. Spell it correctly as well. I know it's an idle, but it's more. It's easier to see that's the actual base model because you called it Ghostface or whatever your model name is. It'll make more sense later on. So now we've got that. We can see if we go to entity bank, user, and it was test 2. There's the information we've got, and there's the base animation. And because it's called Ghostface and not idle, attack or walk, I know that's the base animation. So we don't import that into xImporter, we just import the other animations. The other animations, what I would recommend is a folder on your drive. If we just bring this back across, I've got all my animations here in a folder called animations, and all my converted are here. The extra information I said we don't need is all these, the FPs and BMPs. We don't need them. All we need are the DBOs. So to get the DBOs, we have to import these animations, but not the base animation, because we've already done that, and that's the one that gives us the textures and the FPE. It's all the other animations. So what we do there is just import model, go to your animation list, and the next one would be idle 2, because like I say, we've done that as the base model. Open that, let GameGuru do its thing. Okay, then just save entity, go to your folder where your animations are, or whichever folder you want to use. I've got a load of rubbish here I need to sort out. Ghostface, there he is. Why did I created a folder called DBO? So as you can see, I've already done them all, but there's my idle 2. So I'll save it as idle 2. Be as descriptive as possible for your animation names, like the idles. I'd stick idle 2, idle 3, walk, walk 2, walk 3, run, run 2, run 3. It just makes it a lot easier if you're in the long term, so you don't get confused. Now unfortunately that's the mundane task, you have to do that for all 18 of them. Like I say, I am working on something where we can just convert the FBX to DBO, so you only have to import the base character, but that'll be at a later date. So once you've got them all, go back to the main folder. I didn't mean to click out, but I did. You're probably all pointing at the screen saying, there it is, there it is, there it is. I've lost him. Oh, there he is. He's already highlighted. See? Everybody was probably pointing at that. So once I've got all the DBOs, what I do is select the type, copy all of these. So I select them all, copy them, and then put them in the folder where my character is. So it's either Ghostface DBO, I've already pasted all those in there, so that's all the DBOs and that's my character done. Okay, the test 2 for pasting there, it'll just be the same as the other one I've got, but that's basically it. So once I've done that, so we're going to work with this one because this is identical, but this is the one that I've been working with. We can now use xImporter. So if we start up xImporter, just before we start, if you look at the original FPE, this is the FPE that the model importer created itself. No animation or animation sets, so that's just a basic FPE. When you first use xImporter, it will create a backup of the basic FPE, so that if you make a mistake you can delete that, copy that, rename it as FPE, and you can start again. So the character FPE, I'm going to choose the Ghostface one, which is in GF Multi, which is this one, which I created earlier. So I open that. Character type. We've got 2 types here. We've got enemy or civilian. Enemy, the difference between the two is the enemy as it can attack you, the civilian cannot. So for this one, I want him to attack me, so I'll choose enemy. Pathfinding, we've got 2 options. Follow waypoints with this basic waypoints in GameGuru, or you can have him just free roaming. I'll have him as free roaming. Sound set. Now you can have any sound set you want or create your own. The sound sets you'll find in your audio bank character folder. Now these sound sets, within each one you'll see different folder types. Within the folders you can have 4 different sounds numbered 0, 1, 2 and 3. It's important that you do number them 0, 1, 2 and 3. What the script will do is pick one at random to use. So the on aggro is basically when the character is aggressive towards the player, you know, attacking the player. On alert is when the player has been seen by the character. On death is when the character actually dies, not the player, the character. On hurt is when the player attacks or hurts the character. On hurt player, when the character strikes the player. On idle is the character in relaxed and non-alerted status. On interact is when the player interacts with the character. Like I say, in each one of these, obviously this male one hasn't got them, but see, that's only got 3 in there, but you can have 4. You can have 1 in it if you want, but they have to be numbered 0, 1, 2. So if you've got 2, it's 0 and 1. If you've got 1, it's just 0. That's just a thing from GameGuru, I'm afraid. So it's like the civilian one. I created a civilian one and created my own sound sets for a civilian, which is chatter, on death, on hurt, on interact. So what you need to do in the sound set here is just type the folder name. So if it was like the male, you just type in male. That's it. That's all you need to do, is just choose the folder set. So if you want to create your own, you'd copy one, paste it, and then we can call it enemy if you want. Now the enemy is an exact copy of the male, so in there we'd change all those sounds to what we'd want. But in here we type enemy, and that's it. Simple as that. So that's the sound sets. I won't use a sound set for this. Now what we've got here are the animation lists. The first thing it's asking for is the idle animation. So if we choose the idle animation, we choose that from the DBOs we created. Now the idle here is the first idle that you want. So the first idle that you'd want is actually the base model. I know it's confusing, but the base model is the first idle. That's always going to be the first idle. And then in here we need this list so we can see. So idle 1, which is the base, was 263 frames. Okay, so that's our first one. So idle 1 is your base. It'll always be your base. We've got another 2 idles, so all we do is click on this little cross here and we can choose the idle 2. So idle 2, 300 frames. We've got another one, so we just add one. If you decided you didn't want to, you click on there, it'll just go back to 1. But we do want full 3 sets. So idle 2 again. This one is 300. I could just have 2 sets, 1 set, whatever. I want 3 sets. So idle 3 is 84 frames. Okay, once you've got all your frames set, click on next, and now we'll do the same for walk. So if we choose walk, so walk 1 is 31. Add another one. Walk 2 is also 31. Add another one. Walk 3 is 42. Next, run. 19 frames. 23. 24. Now the attack. 72 frames. This is another reason why I say to follow the naming convention, so that you can easily find it. Tells you up here what you're choosing, and it's the attack animation 3. And with me naming that attack 3, I know exactly that's attack 3. It's very, very easy to get confused and pick the wrong animations, which would obviously make it the character look weird. So this is the hurt animation. 38. 53. And the final hurt is 30 frames. The death is 109. 70. And the final one is 124. You don't need to use all the sets. I could have easily created this character with just one animation in each set. So once we have all the animations set, we want to choose that will play in the editor. The default is idle. I recommend that you just use idle. Anything else will look a bit silly. Once you've set everything, we click on calculate, and what the app will do is create the actual frame sets and order them numerically, so that everything works in line. Now the target FPE is our Ghostface FPE, which is this here. So now we'll want to update the FPE with all these animation sets. So we'll do that. The other thing it will do as well is create the base of the script, the Lewis script. So the name of the Lewis script will be the name of the character. If we just look at the FPE, we'll see that it has updated. And when I say the script, you see here the AI, it's automatically added the name of the script, even though the script doesn't exist yet. That's the name it will use. So this will add enemy character animation sets to the base model. As you can see, it's appended all the anims. That's what we say append. That's why I say the base animation you don't import, because we're appending to the base animation. So append anim 1 is the idle, 2 is the first animation that we're going to append to it, because the other animations are in it. That's why it starts at 264, because there's already 263 frames for the first idle. Okay, so that's basically the way it works. As far as in the editor is concerned, it's just 6 animations, which is the basic idle, walk, run, attack, hurt and death. The one that we set to play is the idle. These could be removed, but if you want to change them you can. So the plain animated one is the idle. Okay, so that's the FP updated and ready to go. What we now need to do, the attack player frames choose frame number that represents the hit to the player. As I've shown you before in the Mixamo creating the idols, we had the hit frames. That's what these are here. Now the hit frame is 27 frames into 72. So what we need to do is the 72 now for attack 1, which is here, has become 826. So now we have to have 27 to 826 to get our attack frame, our hit frame, which is basic maths, but I'll use a calculator so I don't get mixed up. So if we just look at, we've got 826 plus the hit frame 27 will give us the actual frame number of 853. So we'll change that to 853. Same with this one. 27 on 899 will be, I know you're all shouting the answer out, I know. 926. And attack 3, which starts at 972, we need to add the 39 on there. Which will be 1011 for that frame. So 1011. Okay. Now the attack damage inflicted on the player, health loss. What this means is for attack 1, if the attack 1 animation is used and it hits the player, it will knock 10 health points off. Attack 2 and 10 health points. Attack 3, 10 health points. What we can do here is we can have the severity of the attack. So we could say that attack 3 will knock off 20 health points. Attack 2 will knock off 15. So if the animation is attack 1, 10 health points will be lost from the player. If it's attack 2, 15 health points will be lost from the player. If it's attack 3, 20 points will be knocked off the health of the player. So you could have bare hand, knife, sword, and obviously they will inflict different damages. So that's what that's for. I know all mine are just hands, but one of them isn't hands, which you'll see soon. So once you've got all these set and the figures are correct, confirm hit. It'll just double check with you to make sure that your attack is 853 hit frame, attack 2 is 926 hit frame, and attack 3 is 1011, which is what we've got. So yes. Okay. Once that's done, we create the lure. And that's the lure created. You can alter different settings in here if you like. For instance, the top setting here of 100, you could change that range to 200 if you wanted, or 50 if you wanted it to be closer. It's entirely up to you. The other things here of what's been set from here, so they're your attack damage, which are altered here. You don't need to change that unless you want to make a minor change. And the hurt health percentage is the character, when he gets to 40% of his health loss, he will flinch or react to being hurt. That's basically all that is. So if we save that, we want to put that in script bank. Save. Yes, I'll overwrite the one that's already there. That's just confirming that we've got small g Ghostface AI in the script bank. Okay. So what we need to do now is test our character. If you remember, mine was the GF multi, or in the folder GF multi. So if we just add GF multi, there he is. Just drop him on the map. As you can see, he's playing the base animation, or the idle one, where he's just stood breathing. Let's put a marker on there. Face them. And we'll add a weapon. Just a basic Colt will do. And now we test game. That's one of the walks. That's first run. That's 40%. Now his run has changed to a different run. And then he's running differently again. There's one death, he's fell on his back. So if we run that again, hopefully we'll get different animations. So now he's sneaking now in that walk, and now he's running. flinch. We'll just let him attack us. That's 10. Another 10. That's 15. 10. 10. Now he's just done a drop kick and knocked quite a lot off me. Another drop kick and he kills me. So what we could do now, just to see any randomness, hopefully this will work, but we can add another 2. Remember our frame sets are 3, so 3 characters. Hopefully they should all be slightly different depending on the randomness. There's 2 different runs. Death on his face. Death on his back. It's purely random of how he dies. He's also gone on his back. And that's basically it. So this new version has extra features. The help file will give more in depth to what I've just gone through with you. But thanks for listening and putting up with me. Speak to you again soon. Bye for now.